Let's try this. Let's see if this actually works. Can you hear anything? You still can't hear anything on take 2.
I have to get to the right video now.
Yeah, I went ahead and uploaded again. Dan says it's working now. Hi, Dan. Doug says he can hear you. Actually, Doug says I can hear you. Sorry about that, you guys. Okay. All right. Well, there are some technical difficulties as always. My head is really bright, but you know what? We're just gonna go for it. I'm gonna go back and change the. I'm gonna go back and change the title and the thumbnail after the live stream. So hopefully everyone will be able to figure out how to make this happen. So today I am at home because it is like minus, what is the temperature today? It was minus 14 earlier today, and it's still unbelievably cold, and we got snow. And Chris and I decided, let's just take the rest of the week off, which means that I'll probably only go into the shop a little bit. But yeah, and so kind of lots of pieces of industry have kind of shut down for the Sundays, the Cribman, and you can see I even have a little Christmas tree in the back here. It's now it looks like a funny hat. So lots of commerce is shut. If you've ordered anything from Amazon, you know what I'm talking about. I'm going to try to get slightly less glare on my head. I'm not sure that worked really at all. Probably just as bad as it was before. So just kind of go like this, and you guys will not see my big white head. Wow. Okay. Okay. So, hey guys, thanks for joining me. So like I said, I am out of the, God, this light is bugging the crap out of me. I'm out of the shop today because of weather related issues. Let's try that. That's even worse. How did that? Okay. So anyway, all right, we're just going to go with it. So as I was saying before, Chris and I decided to take the rest of the week off. I might go in a little bit tomorrow, but only because I'm going to try to get some stuff shipped out and get some deliveries coming in. So I've been trying to get a Stuart McDonald order for the last 3 days and no dice. I've been trying to get an order from Luthier's Mercantile that was supposed to be here today, but because I'm guessing because of weather, that didn't come either. So that's kind of the size of that. Let's take a quick super chat from Sir David Dangerous. Merry Christmas, guys. Have a drink on me. Well, God bless you, Dave. I'm going to drink a delicious Coors Yellow Belly, the original Colorado craft beer. So anyhow, I always appreciate those super chats, you guys. I'm going to do some question and answer here today. Chris will not be here to read the things scrolling down the side here, but I also want to talk to you guys about a couple of things. I want to talk about is some of my favorite guitars that we built this year, and I should probably wait and do this when Chris is around, but I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna. I don't know. Sometimes I come up with new ideas all the time, and that was something that I came up with. And yeah, see, there's Texas Toast Chris right there, farting. So Chris, I'm sorry, but if you want to leave some comments about some of your favorite guitars that we built in 2022, that would be excellent. But I want to talk about, I woke up really early this morning. Like I was up at about 3 o'clock. Hold on, let's take a quick super chat from Dylan, who says, I have made that bar emptier. So here you go. Yes, Dylan has had a bunch of the liquor from the liquor cabinet here. So yeah. So I was up at like 3 o'clock in the morning this morning. You know, sometimes you just can't sleep. And I was reading this book here by R.M. Mottola. And on page, it's like 120 something here. Let's find it, because I want you guys to see this. I want you to see what I see. Okay. So anyway, there's a section in this book. What is tonewood? And so I took a picture of this book here, of this page. And I think that part of this definition is probably some of the best of the definitions I've ever heard of tonewood. Tonewood is simply a wood that someone has used twice to make an instrument. Somebody tried it once, found out it worked well enough for the purpose, and used it again. There's other stuff here. Fellow Canadian luthier Sergei Dionne respond to being asked what his favorite tonewood is. He said the kind that grows on trees. So I did not write this book. Okay, I am not attempting to start a bloodbath in the comment section, because every time the notion of tonewood comes up, there are lots of people who like to write doctoral theses and go into depth about why. And guys, if you like it, awesome. I like what I like, and I am to the point in my life where I want to start making things that I want people to remember me by, not what I think people are going to like. And that's taken me about 52 years to get to that point. Let's take a quick super chat from Brad Guitar Miller. He says, Merry Christmas, Matt and Chris. Coolest guitar I built this year was the Thin Line Telly. Thanks to my friends at TTG. Thank you, Brad. That's a really cool guitar, too. Oh, take a quick super chat from Doc, who says, Bar reload, brother. Thank you so much, Doc. That's very good of you, sir. Tonewood, the kind that grows on trees. See, Doc's a Canadian. He knows what. He's in on the gag. That's some serious Canadian wisdom there. Merry Christmas. Thank you. And you too, Doc. Thanks for goofing around with me on Facebook today. The older I get, the grouchier I get, and the grumpier I get, and the more set in my ways I get, and the less likely I am to try new stuff, and the more likely I am to throw up my hands and go, you know what? I am not going to attempt to reinvent the wheel anymore. I'm not going to go against what the guys who I looked up to already know. So, for example, I know I always talk about Dan Armstrong. 7-degree headstock angle is the perfect headstock angle. I didn't figure that out. Dan Armstrong figured it out. I had to come to that same conclusion many years later. But if I just kind of knew what Dan Armstrong already knew, I could have saved myself a lot of aggravation. So, like, I don't get into things on forums. Most because I don't go to forums, but I don't get into like arguments about what headstock angle is the best, because I know what I think is the best, and that's what I'm going to use. And that's one of the things I wanted to kind of circle back around to my favorite guitars that I built this year, because they are all challengers. And there was a time when, if we were in the shop right now, I could point to the wall and I show you guys. A year ago, there were a couple of challengers. Now, actually, we don't mount anything to the wall anymore, but we have racks. We have 3 or 4 racks that hold, Chris, help me out here, they're 20 guitars, and they're loaded with nothing but challengers. And that makes me really, really happy. Super chat, you guys. Bobby Dill says, my favorite guitar is always my next Texas Toast guitar. God bless you, Bobby. Brad Hutchings says, took me about 52 years to get there too. Then I finally was playing with a full deck. Guys, there's some questions coming in. Speaking of tonewood, I'm going to need you to shoot me a quote for the Les Ply. I'm not sure I want to sell the Les Ply, but maybe we should. Maybe we should. Anyhow, okay, so I'm still kind of getting over like being sick, and but so if I'm sneezing or blowing my nose, I bear with me. Okay, so I'm to the point where I want to build what I want to build and hope that you guys dig it, rather than make something I think you guys are going to dig and then find out later if you do or don't. Because I figure as a craftsman, that's what I can do to be true to myself. So anyway, tonewood. Yeah. So I've often said that there's a handful of acceptable guitar woods. The further you deviate from those, the harder it is going to be to convince guitar players that the legitimacy of your construction. I realize that's exactly opposite of what I just said about how I don't care what anybody, because I guess I do care. But like, for example, we don't use Brazilian rosewood for fretboards. We use black poison wood. One of the reasons we use black poison wood is because I think it's a cool sounding name and I love the grain. So anyhow, all right. So tonewood, I think tonewood is a cool thing, and I think that cool things are cool because they're cool. And if you like them, then there's no other reason to use them that you need to tell me. Good? Okay. But we're going to be talking more about tonewoods in the future because of some new projects that we are going to start working on. And I'm going to, I bought a bunch of books lately, and you could tell that I'm thinking about another direction in addition to some Challenger stuff. So I was up reading a lot today, and I bought a bunch of new tools. So anyhow, okay, new direction that is going to very, very excellently dovetail in to what we're already doing. Let's take some more super chats from Don Davidson. He says, because a man needs beer. You bet you're right, Don. God bless you, sir. Don D, welcome to the Casanova Premier level. Thank you for joining us on YouTube. You can sign up. You can actually, guys, you can support us on Patreon, and you can become a patron of Patreon, and you can also support us on YouTube through super chats and through you can actually join up, and you can become a member on YouTube. There are some exclusive content bits that I like to do on YouTube and Patreon, and there's going to be more of that stuff coming very, very soon. So yeah, so get your Don Teeter books out and follow along, if you know what I mean. Okay, so so we have been going for about 15 minutes, and yeah, so guys, we have got some neat stuff happening. I'm not going to tell you exactly what it is. I'm going to let you guess, and yeah, and you will just have to find out. So, but I'm very, very excited about it. And I'm not going to spill the beans, but you might see it next August. Okay. All right. So I wanted to take some questions from you guys, and I've got my glasses on. I can see my computer here. If you've got some questions that you want to ask, or if you just want to talk about something, you want me to read your what you want to talk about, please put a bunch of question marks or a bunch of something that jumps out at me so I can see it. So like K Sharp 10 said, oh, acoustic Challenger. So yeah, hey, here's another. I always answer super chats too. So Doug Seidlitz says, Merry Christmas, Matt, Chris, and Texas Toast family. My favorite TT build in 2022 was the guitar you gifted JJJ. That is going to be, let's talk about the JJJ Deluxe, right now because that is one of my favorite guitars that we did this year, was the one that we ended up calling the JJJ Challenger Deluxe. Doc, cutaways, yes or no? Cutaways on electrics, absolutely. Two cutaways on electrics, not necessarily. Cutaways on acoustic, maybe. Yeah, so that the Challenger Deluxe, also known as the JJJ, those are definitely right up there, some of my favorite guitars that we did this year. When we first started those, it was in February of 2022. I remember, because I remember exactly where I was when I contacted Pete Biltoff for the very first time. And I'm looking at it, I'm like, man, those pickups are really expensive. Are you sure that's what you want, Jim? And when I told him how much they were, he's like, gosh, maybe I'll just do a P90. Well, then I thought about it, and I'm like, you know what? These are so cool looking. In fact, my friend Lauren Court came to a workshop, and he had a Charlie Christian pickup, not from, I don't think Pete made it his, but it fit in a telly on a pick guard, and it looked great. So I'm like, man, the half of the coolness about this pickup is how neat it looks and how cool it is. So I'm like, you gotta do something that's, you gotta have something that's separates you from everything else. And so the Charlie Christian CC Riders pickup that we get from Pete, man, that is definitely a game changer. So yeah, that is a super, super cool one. Curtis Chavez has asked this twice now. He says, volume, tone versus standard Les Paul style. Curtis, let me tell you, man, I think that if you look at all of our Challenger guitars that we've been making for the last couple of years, you go back even further, you'll find some master volume, master tone Challengers. But now we're running, all the Challengers have independent volume. So neck pickup volume, bridge pickup volume, master tone. That's my favorite way to do it. That's Chris's favorite way to do it. It's simpler to wire because you don't have to go to the switch and then back down again. Everything just goes to the control cavity, and the wires to the from the switch go there, and everything just gets done in the control cavity. So I like independent volume, independent tone too, I guess. But frankly, I don't use tone controls. I don't think that any guitar should have a tone control because I don't like the way that it sounds. Do you want to try turning the lights off and turn this camera light on? Is that what we're seeing? Let's try that.
And SS would like to know your favorite.
Look at that. Now, see, that looks actually pretty lovely. Okay. SS would like to know my favorite. Oh, hold on. We've got Daniel Bell wants to know. This is better. My head's not so shiny. So Curtis, thank you for that question. Daniel Bell says, probably been done, but what would be the minimum tools you'd recommend for beginning builder other than a pin router? Well, I wouldn't recommend a pin router at all, actually. In fact, if you're going to start building guitars now, don't get a pin router. You can do a lot of good stuff without a pin router. But I would say a really good router and a really good base to put said router on the table and have it poking up through the bottom. The hardest part is going to be frets and neck stuff for new guitar builders. And luckily for you, my friend, on Sunday, Christmas Day, I will be premiering another video, and it's going to be Don't Fret Your Fret Ends. I think actually the video is called If Your Guitar Neck Sucks, It's Your Fault. So fret ends are, if you got those pokey outy fret ends, they're easy to get right. And you don't have to take it to a guy. You can buy a handful of tools and you can fix that yourself and make any neck, whether you're building a new neck or you've got an old neck that you need to fix up. Yeah. So anything that's fret and nut related are where I would focus all of your energies on first for guitar building tools. Second, a good router, a good bandsaw. There's some, and you're kind of starting to get into some big money items. what I did, and I've told people this before, and it's true. It's as true now as it was when I started doing this many, many, many years ago. Find a guy in your neighborhood or somewhere close enough where you can drive. Find someone who has a cabinet shop or a carpenter or a school or somewhere where you can go and rent shop space and see if you want to do it. Man, I remember in 1989, I graduated from Roberto Ben and I had no tools. I bought a good router and I rented shop space from he was my high school shop teacher. I went back to Texas and I rented shop space from my high school shop teacher. And, because he had all of this stuff and it allowed me to focus on some things that weren't buying tools, but rather getting good. Okay. So, let's see. So yes, it actually has been done before, Daniel, but yeah. Okay. All right. So it looks like I've gotten all of on Sunday, you have that vid premiering at 6 a.m. Lefty, thank you. I need to go and adjust that because it needs to premiere at 5 p.m. There's a lot of computer problems going on. So the JJJ Challenger, let's get back to that. Thank you, Loring. Good and happy holidays to you too, my friend. And see, now here you go right here. This is Ken Tipton, the Fellowship of Guitar Building in Action says that if anyone's in Corona, California, he has a full shop open to TT members. Now that is cool. Sean Emmenheiser, have you guys messed around with Lacquer at all? If so, what product are you using? Sean, we used to run exclusively Lacquer and we stopped. I don't like Lacquer. I am still of the opinion that the type of finish that you use does not matter, provided the thickness of the finish is thin as possible and is consistent over the whole guitar. Okay. I used to just say as thin as possible. I've added the extra thing that it is consistently the same thickness over the whole guitar. If you like Lacquer, man, getting good Lacquer is really, really tricky now. And there aren't a lot of advances in Lacquer when you compare that to modern urethane and polyester paints. So you're going back in time, and that's cool. But it makes life really tricky. So Sean, the paint job that you did on the that you used to paint the guitar for the Great American Guitar Building Contest last year, you couldn't do that with Lacquer and have it turn out like it did and have it stay. You just couldn't. Want to know how I know? Because I've tried to do exactly that. So anyway, okay. Ken says he likes how Lacquer repairs. Well, that's a good thing too. I like how oil and wax is repaired. That is excellent, Paul. Thank you. Okay, so yeah, I'll let you guys. You know what? However, remember I said cool things are cool because they're cool, and if you like Lacquer, then then absolutely 100% use Lacquer. All right, let's get back to the JJJ Challenger, which is one of my favorite guitars. And if you are one of the few people lucky enough to get one of those guitars in the pre-order, those are all in paint right now. As a matter of fact, there are only 3 that remain that need to be painted. And then we're going to start the arduous process of assembling all of them. But they all look like $100 million. If I were doing a reveal tomorrow, which, guys, I am not going to be doing a reveal tomorrow. But if I was doing a reveal tomorrow, I would show you all of the Challenger JJJ. So maybe next Friday we'll do that. But that was a fun guitar. And I did not give that guitar to Jim. A lot of Jim's friends and family pulled together and paid for that guitar. Now, Chris and I are Jim's friends and family, and so we chipped in, but we did not give that guitar to Jim. That guitar was purchased through the help of very generous donors. Some of them are in the comment section right now. Doc and Dave and Doug and Gary and I think Ryan kicked in some money. A lot of you guys kicked in money for the JJJ guitar, and a bunch of Jim's friends here in Colorado kicked in money. And a bunch of his buddies from back in Illinois kicked in money, and that was a super cool thing. Hey, it's Richard Ryan. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you, Texas Toasties. Thank you so much, Richard. Richard, I am going to be working on something I think you're going to really dig in the coming year. And I would love to see you at the shop sometime soon. Paul Need says, say, Matt, how long does this weather affect your wood store at the shop? Well, Paul, our shop is climate controlled, and I did happen to go over there. Actually got an alarm, so I had to go over there. but it's very dry here in Colorado. It's very dry, and even if it's not minus 14, it's still crazy dry here in Colorado in the wintertime. So when you're doing something with very thin woods that are braced, say for example, having a 55-gallon humidifier is a good thing. Okay. Don't take my word for it. Check out Robbie O'Brien at O'Brien Guitars and see what he says. He will back me up on that. Actually, I'm just taking his thing and saying it. So, Matt, you do so much for the guitar community and stay humble. It is very well. Thank you, Ken. I don't know what I do for the guitar community. I hope that I do something, and I hope that people like what I do. And you know what? But I like what I do. So I hope that other people like it as well. I read a thing. One of my guitar building heroes, Joel Danzig, had a thing on Premier Guitar where he was talking about YouTube videos and how he actually watches YouTube videos. And I thought, wouldn't it be something if Joel Danzig has seen one of my videos and didn't think I was a complete lunatic? I don't know. Maybe he did. Maybe he didn't. But I would one day I would like to meet Joel Danzig. It's a bucket list item for me. I have a big bucket though, and I hope. I don't think that is something that would be outside the realm of possibility. I bet you that I could call him up and say, "Hey, I'm going to be in Connecticut sometime when you're there. Can I come by your shop?" Chris and I do that all the time. We had a guy stop by the shop just yesterday. He was in town from Florida, and his wife set up an appointment to come by the shop and hang out with us for a little while. And it was in the middle of a blizzard. And so we hung out with them for a while because they brought us beer. Speaking of which. So let's talk. Okay, so some of the other guitars that are my favorites of 2022. One of them that is a fairly recent deal is the Challenger Saturday Night Special. Wait, belay that. No, don't belay that. Pause, and let's come back to that. One of my favorite guitars that we did for reasons that might be a little bit unusual is the Challenger Juniors that we made. We made like 25 of those things. And guys, I don't know how many guitars we've made this year. I don't keep track of that stuff. But I know we made a bunch of those Challenger Juniors. They all had Dylan pickups. They were super cool. They had Hunter and Mahogany from Dan at Tonewood Experts. They had Hipshot bridges and tuners, and they were super excellent. And one of the things that they allowed us to do was get better at making the same guitar over and over and over again. And that allowed us to do some other neat stuff too, which I'm going to get back to when I talk about the Saturday Night Special. Doug Cook, what have you done? You have inspired and made it possible for so many of us to build guitar. Oh, Doug, come on. I just, I do what I do, and you guys do what you do. So yeah, I appreciate that, but I'm just regular. So Dylan Talks Tone knows exactly how many P90s we use for those Challenger Juniors, a real buttload. But so the Challenger Juniors were all cool. They were mostly TV yellow. Like Gary got one that was intergalactic, and Bobby Gill got a pink one. So there's a white one floating around or two, and very cool guitars. I love those guitars. So that was another one that we did, a series that we did. in 2022 that I was very proud of and I'm very happy about. But let's go back to the Saturday night special. The Saturday night special is basically it's not unlike the Junior. It's a Honduran mahogany body with our durable thin finish. It's got a maple neck. It's not bound, but we get fretboards from Steve at Maximum Guitar Works, so they are blind fret slots, and they're bolt in, they're screwed together, and right now they're only available with our Pure Juice humbuckers and a stop tail and tunematic, but everything else is, I mean, aside from the maple neck, everything else has got 7-degree headstock angle. It's got a black poison wood fretboard. Yeah, it's just a super, super cool guitar. And I think that I like them so much that I think in 2023, you will see more options when it comes to the Saturday night special. In fact, that brings me around to talking about a guitar that is probably right now my favorite thing that we are working on. It's another Challenger, and it's the carved top Challenger. I didn't think I was going to like it as much as I do. In fact, I didn't think I was going to like it at all. I thought that because I went through half a dozen carved top Challengers, and I liked them okay, but I wasn't like, this is the one. And so there's a handful of carved top Challengers floating around out there. Vincent actually convinced me to do another one, and he wanted 2 Dylan P90s it's going to China, and it's almost done. Actually, it's in paint. But he convinced me to do one, and I'm like, okay, I'm just gonna buckle down and do another one and see if I like it. Actually, I did 3 guitars to get it exactly right, and I finally did, and that one's going to him. And that one became the basis for all of the future carved top Challengers. And guys, like I said, I didn't think I was going to like them at all. I didn't think I was going to like them as much as I do. And now it's kind of my new favorite thing that we do. So I cannot wait to show you guys more carved top Challengers. So in 2023, you're going to see a Challenger page on the website, and there's going to be from priced lowest to highest, the Challenger Saturday Night Special, the Challenger X, the Challenger Junior, the Challenger Standard, the Challenger Deluxe, the JJJ model, and the carved top Challenger. And they're all going to be, the finally culminating an idea that I had. God, I don't even remember how many years. It's probably been about 10 years ago. I came up with this design, and it's been modified over like back and forth again. And even before Chris was working here, I started making Challengers, and I shrank it and I expanded. I did all kinds of stuff, and man, I love it now. And I'm not ready to sell Texas Toast guitars to someone so they can make Challengers. But I love the guitar so much that I can't wait to bring you guys different price point levels of that guitar. Like I said, probably starting at about $14.99 and going up from there. So lots and lots and lots of cool stuff. Challenger Saturday Night Specials and Challenger X's, you can just order those right now on the website. Web pages coming in 2023 for the standards, the deluxe, the juniors, and the carved tops. So you'll be able to just buy them right off the website. Tony Loeb's carved top was killer. Yeah, that's right, Driddle. Tony had a really excellent one. It was a fabric top one. And it was, man, it was neat. It was neat, you guys. And the final version is a lot like Tony's was. Doug says he will definitely own one. Doug, God bless you, Doug. I can't decide. I think Doug still holds the record for number of Texas Toast guitars right now. But but I digress. So let's see. Paul Need says, what defines a Saturday Night Special as being a Saturday Night Special? Well, Paul, that's a great question. So one, I thought the name was cool. So the Saturday night special is one of the reasons that we were able to do it for less money than a standard Challenger was we eliminated a bunch of options. So right now, the Saturday night special is available in any color you want as long as it's black. It's available with any kind of pickups you want as long as it's pure juice humbuckers. Any bridge you want as long as it's a stop tail and two pneumatic bridge. Any neck you want as long as it's a maple bolt-on neck. And it just having, like, for example, the bolted on feature makes guitar finishing a lot faster. Maple is an easier wood to get a hold of. So it is a price point instrument. But that's sort of like saying the Mesa Boogie Studio is a price point amplifier. There's nothing cheap about it. I love that guitar, and it just the way that it looks. So you will probably see different finish options, different pickups. You probably see a P91 in 2023. But yeah, the Saturday Night Special, it's a cool sounding name. And it's a cool song by Leonard Skinner. And and I think but yeah, those are the feature. That's the feature set. And you can actually go to TexasToastGuitars.com and look on the Saturday Night Special page, and you'll see all that stuff. And if you want to order one, just click, and we'll get one going for you ASAP. And I promise you will love it. Okay. Paul Need says, made in Indonesia Challengers, and then he's got that kind of Muttley face. No, there will never be a made in Indonesia Challenger as long as I am driving the train. Not because I don't think Indonesian guitars are cool, but because I think that owning a Texas Toast Guitars Challenger should mean something. And I don't ever want anybody to ever say, oh, do you have an American made one? Do you have one that Matt and Chris made? I want you to just know that no matter what, when you buy a Challenger, it's made right here. It's made by us, and they're made one at a time for you. So, I think that is a super cool thing. And I think that's a really neat, has a lot of meaning. I think it's a great thing. And, if we ever sold the company to, insert name, this isn't happening, but you know what I mean? At that point, my friend Jim Fuller sold his company, and he was a consultant for a year, and he hated it. And so now he has another new company. I think I would feel the same way. So I would rather go out of business than sell Indonesian Challengers. Okay. That's what I say now. Who knows what the future holds? Okay. Bobby Deal says, I've said it before, Saturday Night Special, the best deal out there. Thanks again. Bobby knows he has the very first Saturday Night Special. And somebody asked what caliber it is. Generally speaking, Saturday Night Specials were chambered in 22 long, 22 LR, 32. I would say 38 Special was probably a little bit, maybe 38 Smith & Wesson. I have a J-frame Smith that is excellent. I don't consider it to be a Saturday Night Special, but it is a small revolver. I even made a guitar that it fit in the backup. Okay. Ken Tipton, I don't think you really get value out of a guitar past $1,500. Not saying anything about $1,500 isn't worth it. Materials, custom quality at $1,500 is definitely possible. Ken, I think that when you do work the way that we do, and when you have a shop that when you have overhead, that's where you're paying for a lot of that stuff. Our rent on the shop is more than double what the mortgage on my house is. And I live in Colorado, and I don't know what the median price for a house is in Colorado these days, but our shop rent is very high. And that's one of the overhead is kind of part of the deal. And yeah, I get it. If you have a shop, you know what I'm talking about. So, at some point too, you have to pay yourself, and you have to pay insurance, and you have to pay people, and you have to pay for internet, and you have to pay for all that stuff costs money. And that's kind of the way that goes. So, all right. Okay. Ken says, again, you guys are the absolute best value for a boutique guitar. Thank you, Ken. Scott Martinez says you should move to Texas. Scott, I think what you mean is you should move back to Texas. Greg says tools ain't cheap, and you got that right, Greg. Dom D, in business, you must pay yourself first in order to eat. You know what? You are right. I don't make a lot of money. This is not a high yield business. If I had it to do over again, I might make cupcakes or beef jerky or coffee. But I'm a guitar builder, and I love what I do. And I can't speak for Chris, but I think that Chris loves what he does too. And I'm sure he will chime in as well. But so some of my favorite guitars that we've done this year is, like I said, the JJJ Challenger Deluxe, which is more than $1,500. The Challenger Junior, which were also more than $1,500. And the Saturday Night Special. The Saturday Night Special was probably it's not the newest of the ones that we're doing, but it's one of my, I'm really, really happy with that guitar. Excuse me. Really super happy. I like every time we put one together, I'm like, man, I like this. I just like it. Could we make it cooler and sexier? Yeah. But there's no need. It's just a no nonsense. Like, it's just a badass guitar. And the carb tops, guys, I will put my carb top up against anyone's carb top, including the Big G. So, and I think that you will agree, and you will see a lot more of them in 2023. Chris and I used to have this thing we would talk about what we want to see on the wall or in the racks is fewer and fewer other people's designs and more challengers. And now it's rare to see something that's not a challenger. And I think that by this time next year, you will see very few flat top challengers, and you'll see a lot more carb top challengers. Let's take a super chat from Dave. Dave, the Pious says, you also pay for the years of knowledge the builder has. Matt and Chris have a bunch. We have a few, huh? That was you're man, and you know what? Education costs money. Whether you go to school or whether you pay in sweat and blood, education costs money. Yeah, that's absolutely true. Mike says the Kaiser Blade was one of his favorites. You know what, Mike? I kind of forgot about the Kaiser Blade, but that's one of my favorites too. One day I am going to make a hollow, semi-hollow Kaiser Blade, and I think that is going to be what pushes that guitar into the where I want it to be, because they're heavy guitars. So yeah, but the Kaiser Blade is awesome. And you don't have to take my word for it. Ask Doug Seidlitz; he'll tell you he loves his. Dom says at the end you get what you pay for, and handmade craftsmanship is the key with TTG. That, you know what? And you're a poet, and you kind of knew it too. And you know what? Sometimes you do get what you pay for, and I hope that you guys do. Whether you buy a guitar from me or someone else, I hope that you at least get what you pay for and get what you want. Making a bunch of the same guitars was a big deal for me, and I remember last year, actually a little bit earlier than this time last year, we had 4 Challenger standards, and they were all basically the same. And Brad Hutchings came out, and he was like, I got to check them out. And I was so proud to have 4 models that I was like, hey, check it out. These are all basically the same. They're all different. You know what I mean? But they're all very similar, and pick which one you want. And he played them all, and he's like, I don't know. I guess I want this one. I think he got one that we called Fang because there was some inclusions in the wood, and they were just neat guitars. And now a year later, I look on the racks, and there are racks and racks and racks of Challengers that are all a model that Chris and I have worked very, very hard on. So the Challengers are some of my very favorite guitars. Right now, the ones that I said, they're kind of my favorites. But don't be surprised when you see more. Don't be surprised when you see more Challenger X's. I did not include the Challenger X in my favorite guitar thing because I kind of want to rework those. I think those can be cooler than they are. And I don't quite know how to do it yet. I think that one day soon you will see a double cutaway. It might not be a double cutaway Challenger, but you might see another double cutaway. But it's taken a long time to get where our single cutaway is where we want it. So don't be surprised if the double cutaway doesn't come right away. Okay. Don't forget the Honey Badger. The Honey Badger was a cool guitar. Ken says you should do a single cut Kaiser blade. Okay. There was something else I wanted to talk about with you guys. This Sunday, Christmas Day, it looks like it's set up for 6 a.m., but it's actually going to be 5 p.m., the regular time that we do Sunday premiere videos. It's it's a long video. It's probably close to a half hour, and it's me doing fret ends and talking to you guys about fret ends and how to get them just right and how to make them look good. And that'll be a fun video. The following Sunday, it's going to be Chris and Brandon and myself all at Maximum Guitar Works talking about the $9,000 Stratocaster workshop and how cool that's going to be. We are actually going to be doing something on Tuesday, and I hope to have the video done by Sunday. But we're going to be kind of stepping into your shoes a little bit. And we're going to be going out to Maximum Guitar Works to basically build a bunch of Strats. I love Strats as much as the next guy. And the $9,000 Stratocaster workshop, which, by the way, is considerably less money than $9,000, is going to be a lot of fun. And I want to have some video, and we want to kind of do some of the legwork before that workshop rolls around in August. So we want to make sure that you guys can get everything done in 5 days. So you're actually going to go to Maximum Guitar Works. You're going to pick the wood for your body, pick the woods for your necks. If you want like heel adjust, truss rod, you can do all that stuff. So we're going to be going through that. We're going to be actually going through Steve's shop, kind of like a participant in the workshop will do come August. And we're going to kind of ride roughshod on Steve and be like, hey, Steve, can I get this? Hey, can I get this? Hey, can I get this? And we'll see what we can do. We're going to pick all the woods and and we're going to get all of the woodwork done on body and neck in one day. And we're going to get a UV coat of sealer on them in the first day. So that's going to be step one. And you will do that if you come out to that workshop. It is going to be cool. You will also wind your own pickups. You will spray your own finish. Guys, do a sunburst. Okay. You'll do all the assembly work. You'll do all the fret work. You'll do all the, whoa, come on, camera. There you go. You'll do all of the fret end work, just like you're going to see in the video on Sunday. Hey, Rotbox, if you can do something you love and pay your bills, you have won. There's a bunch of wealthy and miserable people out there. Don't be unhappy, Scrooge. Have a Merry Christmas, Matt and Chris. Thank you so much, my friend. Steve, we also got, oh, crap. Steve sent us a super cool Coors Light biplane. And I'm not in the shop to show you guys. I could have put it up on the Christmas tree, Steve. We love that thing. I have been kind of playing with it in the shop a lot this week. I've been doing I've been buzzing crop dusting Brandon with it, and yeah, it's been fun. So thank you for the super chat, though, my friend. So $9,000 Stratocaster workshop, gonna be cool. Still working out a lot of the details. Let's talk a little bit about the $400 guitar building challenge. Details are on the website. Entry form on the website. I've been getting a bunch of people ask me questions like, well, how much should I account for like finish and stuff like that? Guys, don't make it harder than it needs to be. Put some money in for finish and stuff, but if you got to buy a gallon of Simtech, don't charge yourself for the whole gallon of Simtech. Charge for what you use. Cool. The flip side to that is you might not need 1,000 board feet of 3A flame maple, but if you can get a quantity discount, you should do it. And if you can use some for your $400 guitar build challenge, then do so. Speaking of discounts, cheat code for the $400 guitar building workshop is thanks to our good friends at Tonewood Experts, code Texas Toast 15. If you're buying $100 of wood from them, don't do $100, do 85 because you save 15%. John and Cheryl at Bitterroot Guitars, if you buy $100 worth of stuff from them and you use code TXTOAST at checkout, don't charge $100, charge 85 because you get 15% off from them too. And I just got off the phone with Dylan from Dylan Talks Tone, Dylan Pickups. I don't know how he does it. I don't know, because he's offering a one-time deal, one per person. I don't know how many pickups it's good for. You'll have to talk to Dylan. 40% off your order from Dylan Pickups one time if you use the code that he's going to give me for the $400 guitar build challenge. So what that means, in case I'm confusing anybody, is if you were going to buy a $100 pickup from Dylan, now that pickup's going to be $60, and you don't count it as $100 on your $400 ceiling. You count it as $60. Cool. So that is a super, super cool deal. I don't know how Dylan's doing that. Take advantage of the deal. So once you sign up for the, once you get your entry fee and all the entry stuff in, I will send out the code for Dylan's 40% off. You can still, right now you can use Texas Toast 15 at Tonewood Experts and TXTOAST at checkout at Bitterroot Guitars, and you can get the 15% off from them right now. Dan says, Merry Metric Kridman. God bless you, Dan. Ken Tipton says, whoever got your TTG with the gun pocket in the back got smoking deal. I logged in right at midnight. It was gone, daddy gone. Sorry, Ken. That was a neat one. And Ken says, I should have just paid full price. Well, Ken, the guy who bought that actually did pay full price for it. And I'm not just making that up. He actually did. So that was very cool. Dylan says that it's only for the $400 guitar build contest that we are doing at Texas Toast Guitars. So only for that. And Lefty says a $200 set of pickups almost pays for the entry fee alone. You ain't lying. I have not found out from Steve yet what he is planning on doing. I got to make sure where we are. What he's planning on doing, but I know Steve is going to support this event again this year. I don't know to what extent, but I will find out. I will find out very soon. Dylan says you can use Texas Toast for a 10% off code all the time. So, but if you want to sign up for the contest don't wait. Buy a bunch of pickups from Dylan. I know I do. I buy a real buttload. You know what? And so let me thank our sponsors real quick, because I have to give up airtime to Dylan and Leslie at Dylan Talks Tone coming up here in 3 minutes. So I want to thank all of our sponsors, including Tonewood Experts, Maximum Guitar Works, Dylan Talks Tone, Bitterroot Guitars, Odyssey Beer Works, and Flipside Music, the great American guitar store. I'm running out of time, so I don't have time to do the whole spiel. I also want to thank Brad Guitar Miller and Pedal to the Metal Guitars. Links in the description below, you guys, for all of this stuff. And Brad's got I think Brad's given a little bit of a deal too. So any of that stuff that you can get that is a deal with Texas Toast codes, use that as it's as good as money, which is the same as cash. So if it's $100 and you get 10% off from something from Pedal to the Metal Guitars, counts as $90 towards the $400 guitar build challenge, not $100. Same with Texas Toast 15 at Tonewood Experts and TXTOAST at Bitterroot. And the code that I'm about to give you when you sign up with Dylan, just give me your entry form in, get me your entry fee in, and it's going to be cool. Ask Sean Emmenheiser. He walked out of there with a big fat stack of cash last year. Someone is going to win an even bigger, fatter stack of cash this year, because I think, guys, this contest is going to be even cooler than the last one, which was awesome. I also want to thank Nigel Forstner in Queensland, Australia. I'm still working out. He's got his an excellent book. Speaking of books, I've been reading a lot of books lately. But Nigel Forstner is an acoustic guitar builder in Queensland, Australia. Nice guy, super cool ebook, and you should check that out too. I've got to get out of here. I want to see if there's anything I'm missing, guys. I thanks for hanging out with me. Thanks for answering or giving me questions to answer. Feliz Navidad to you too, Julian. Dan says, see you Sunday. Thank you very much, Dan. I can't believe it's the end of the show and I only had one thumbs up for how to kick we only have one thumbs up. That's weird. Van Shank Guitars later to you too, my friend. Slacker Deluxe. Thank you, Doug. Ken Tipton, Merry Christmas to you too, my friend. Merry Christmas, everybody. We will see you on Christmas Day. Take it away, Dylan. I'm out of here. I'm going to go drink beer for real and try to be a warm, dry dog tonight. All right, everybody, take care.